I'm the mom behind the mask. Welcome. If you're worried about the world we're leaving to our children, well, then it looks like your algorithm brought you to the right place. Now, trigger warning for today's video, it does involve child SA. This young couple, Skyler Klassen and Madison Bishop, seemingly in love and excited about their new baby, took to TikTok to celebrate a gender reveal to find out they were going to be having a baby girl. Such a loving moment that can now be looked back on as a truly sinister one. Because last month, Skyler Klassen was arrested and charged with SAing the baby. But even more disturbingly, so was Madison. The couple had been planning to assault the baby and much more since before she was even born. Text messages from Madison include, "I want to be a good trad wife and teach our girls how to be good toys." She also said, "I think a lot more people are into this than admit it, to be honest. If it was legal, then a lot more people would, I think." And finally, "I'm so excited to raise a little star." It takes a truly sick individual to say these things, but then to say, leaving the baby in the NICU is like having her heart ripped out. Kind of ironic that being sick in the NICU was safer than being at home with Madison. Apparently, Skyler confessed to assaulting the baby and found in his phone photos of the baby's genitals and also a video of him digitally penetrating her. And yes, by that I mean he used his finger on the baby and took a video of it. Now, all of this was happening in Wisconsin, and it's unclear how exactly police were made aware of what was going on, if he was possibly reported by someone. We're not really sure at this point, but while Skyler was detained, he admitted to police that he's actually being investigated by the Nevada police for pretty much the same exact thing. He is being investigated for possession of CSAM. Now, Skyler is private on TikTok, but Madison's is not. And something sticks out to me here. Madison actually goes by Ash and goes by they, them pronouns. However, I will not be respecting those pronouns. And if that offends you, the rest of this video probably will too. So let's take a look at Madison's TikTok and see some of the things she had to say before all this went down. I went as far back as I could stomach it, which happened to be around mid-2023. And there's a common theme in Madison's page, in her content. Ironically, she hates PDF files.
We're not doing anything wrong. We don't want to hurt your kids. We don't want to groom your kids.
She says, if your age isn't in your bio, I'm not going to follow you back. And if you're under 18, maybe 17, I'm not going to follow you back at all. Nothing on y'all, I just don't feel comfortable with that. She left this as a comment, and we find out her father is a PDF file. And I think this is going to explain a lot. She used to post a lot of content about her dad abusing her. Every time I get upset, I cry for my dad. I have to remind myself of everything he's done, why he's not the one I want comforting me. Me trying to convince my dad not to get me pregnant on my 15th birthday. Okay? Sometimes I wonder what I could have done differently to make you see me as the child I was. And then we hear this story.
I was 15, I was put into respite care for 2 weeks, which is essentially foster care, but it's for when foster parents need to go on a trip or something, things like that. The child will be removed from their home and put into a temporary foster home for 2 weeks. I was put into respite care for 2 weeks to figure out if what I was saying was happening was true. They eventually decided that what I was saying wasn't true, so they put me back with my dad. So it was just me and my dad with the things still happening that were in fact happening that I'm not really going to get into. My mom didn't want me living with my dad, so when she found out that they had put me back with him, she called her sister, she called her half-sister, and told her what was going on and asked if she would have me come live out there. Now, her half-sister never ever had kids on purpose because she just can't handle that responsibility. She knows that if too much happens, then she's just going to give up. But she still decided to take me on, knowing that I'm, mentally ill. I'd been having problems since I was 11 years old, been 4 years of severe mental health issues at this point. She still decided to take it on. And after 2 months, my aunt gave up. And I was in a mental hospital when she realized that she couldn't do it anymore. And so she just left me there. And I was in foster care for 3 years after that. I'm still technically in foster care. Don't have kids. Can't handle having kids. A child is a responsibility for your whole life with a lot of emotions. Anything can happen. You have a kid. It's a whole person, you know?
Yeah, I do know that, Madison. My question here and my thought process here is, this girl has clearly been through a lot. She's been through some trauma. And I know that people who are abused as children are more likely to abuse their own children. But my question is, why, if you have experienced that and have a whole array of mental health issues, which we'll discuss here in a moment, and have so much trauma from that, and it has impacted you so much, why would you wish that? And why would you allow that? Why would you do that to your own child? Why would you want that for your own child? That's what I'm having a hard time connecting here. Is you talk about these things that have happened to you and how it's impacted you, but now you've done it to your own child. Thank God this child was found and taken when she was, because who knows? God, who knows? What I gather from all of her content is that she has dissociative identity disorder, borderline personality disorder, anxiety, depression, PTSD. She has epilepsy and is an addict, and was recently very concerned about the demonization of people with narcissistic personality disorder.
So for the past couple years, I've watched online as people have slowly more and more demonized narcissistic personality disorder, which among many things is a trauma disorder, as is any cluster B disorder. BPD is cluster B as well. And it's just gotten worse and worse, and anyone saying, hey, maybe don't demonize this, is just shouting into a void.
So this doesn't sound like someone who really needs to be having children, in my opinion. Now, I'm not saying anyone who has a mental health disorder shouldn't be having children, but she clearly seems unwell. But I want to move on to Skyler, and truthfully, I would prefer to focus on Skyler since he is the one who allegedly but admitted to doing something to the baby. But it's so hard to find anything on him with his accounts being private, and it doesn't really seem like he was very active on social media anyway. Everything we see of Skyler was pretty much posted by Madison. But I have a theory about Skyler that I don't know if it's true, but I'm going to throw it out there. I think Skyler is trans as well. Does that matter? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. But I think it's possible Skyler transitioned from female to male, and I'm going to tell you why. Truthfully, I thought it immediately when I first saw Skyler. I thought he looked like someone who had transitioned from female to male, but obviously they were doing a gender reveal, so I thought, okay, that's not possible. But then it was language like this that made me think maybe it was possible. The man assaulted the woman's infant daughter. Klassen admitted to assaulting Madison Bishop's 2-month-old daughter. Wouldn't it just make sense to say he admitted to assaulting his daughter if that were actually his biological daughter? And then I saw this. The complaint didn't make clear what Klassen's relationship to the child was. So is it his child or not? Is this another man's child that you have exposed to this human being? Madison? She'll probably never hear this because she's in jail. But I'm like, what's going on here? And this is a little less credible, but she did post this. Okay, and my final piece of evidence I want to show to the jury is this Facebook profile. Now, I'm not going to show the details of it because there's a picture of a child who I think could have been Skyler, but it's a picture of a girl, and if it's not Skyler, I don't want to just put the girl's picture on there, you know? But this is a Facebook profile for a Skyler Klassen in Las Vegas, Nevada, and that is where Skyler lived just a year and a half ago when he basically ran from the police in Nevada. And it also has pictures of anime, and we know he's into anime from his Instagram profile. I could be totally wrong. It's just a hunch. It's just a theory. But I want to mention Abby Blabby for covering this, but Madison apparently anonymously posted on a Facebook group asking for help and advice before it was found out that she was actually involved in this, allegedly. She said, "My baby's father, my boyfriend until now, was arrested today. He admitted to owning CSAM and assaulting our daughter. I have no idea where to go from now. I have a CPS case for 60 days. I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I'm only 21. I have no clue how I'm going to do this alone. I know I'll be able to. We will get to the other side, but I have no idea how it's going to happen. I am terrified. He was my last attempt at trusting someone. He was the best guy I'd ever met, and he was an amazing father, I thought. We were a team. We were going to get married. My heart is completely shattered. Our girl is 7 weeks old, but she's only 7 days corrected. I'm not sure what that means. I'm beside myself." So obviously that was before the text messages were released, and those were pretty bad. I'm not sure there's any coming back from that. I'm not sure what her defense could possibly be. I'm sure they will try to do something, say something about maybe mental health or coercion, or that he forced her, maybe that they were in an abusive relationship. I'm not sure, but truthfully, I don't think a jury is going to take it easy on her or him. Let me know what you think down in the comments. I thank you for listening. I know this was a pretty heavy topic, so I appreciate it if you're still here, and I will be keeping an eye on this case and updating you along the way. Subscribe if you like.